This is the story of what happens when industry rubs up against suburbia. Hard-working people in search of peace and quiet against the need to recycle. But in the 21st century, we are told there is a technical solution. It's just not being implemented. So residents continue to suffer noise pollution after 6 long years, their complaints falling on the deaf ears of officialdom, the council, the environmental agency, the factory owners. Will a petition make them pay attention? You have a problem here. It seems like a nice area. Well, what is the problem, John?
The problem is I moved in 4 years ago and then I became aware of a huge amount of noise. Every time I open my back door, we don't open the windows, it's a smashing, it's a banging, it's a clanking, it's the beeping of forward and reverse sensors on heavy machinery. And this starts at about 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 past 6, goes on till 10 at night, and when they feel like it, it runs weekend nights as well.
This noise that you say you can hear, where does it come from?
Comes from the Rehow factory, Stephanie Works, Bailey Street.
Okay. So that's what, about a mile down the road?
About half a mile away.
And you're all saying that you can clearly hear this noise?
Yeah, it's when you step out in your garden, as someone else has said, it disturbs the peace. It can be at any time of the day. And it's a real mechanical sort of noise, a sort of grinding noise, so it's quite intrusive.
Well, you had it there, you were describing the noise. Can anybody try and get across exactly what this noise is like? You almost got it there, it was a mechanical...
For me it sounds like metal being torn apart, so it's a thrashing sound and a ripping sound of metal. And the sound varies, it's not one consistent volume level, it's ups and downs, and it's that which is intrusive.
How long have you had to live with this noise?
Oh, I think before you moved in, John, didn't I?
I've had 4 years.
I would say you've been here 4 years. I would say approximately 6 years.
You complained to the council?
Yeah, about 6 years ago, approximately.
And what action have they taken?
Nothing.
I'd been in touch with Ian Lewis from the Environmental Services at the council. He came up, he brought some recording equipment. The noise stopped 10 minutes before he arrived and started again 10 minutes after he left a week later. He said he didn't inform the factory. And he'd done his recording once, that was the end of it. It's a recycling plant, get over it, it's exempt. It can do what it likes, basically. He didn't say it can do what it's like, he said it's exempt from anything, there's nothing anyone can do.
Do we know what they're doing in there, exactly?
They're recycling aluminium and plastic frames, old window frames and doors. And what they do, they have a big machine, it grabs about approximately a tonne of this, drops it from a height down a big chute, at which it drops down and then it introduces into thousands of hammers. That's how the agency, Mr. Evison, described it to me. Thousands of hammers which then shred and smash all this plastic up.
Now, besides the council, have you complained to anybody else, the environmental agency?
That was Mr. Evison is from the Environment Agency.
And their response has been so far?
Well, in June they denied all knowledge of the factory, said it wasn't run by them, it was Tameside Council's, it's not on their list. The council were saying it's the Environment Agencies, it's not on their list. So they both denied any responsibility for it, but then I got a letter off them saying they'd spoke to the factory a year ago, saying it was unlicensed, so technically illegal. That's Mr. Crozier's words from the Environment Agency. It is technically illegal. They're aware of it and they're working with them to get a bespoke application in off the factory. But they deny it on one hand and they've seen it a year before on the other. The bespoke application still isn't in. They're still working with them and it's still trading technically illegal as it has for at least 6 years.
In terms of dealing with the Environment Agency, that's certainly my experience. They were supposed to ring me today because I've had an exchange of emails with them over the last few days, and they were supposed to ring me today because I want to get my head around the process by which this firm has been allowed to continue operating unlicensed for that period of time. And I, at the moment, am at a loss to know who actually makes the decision and exercises the control over them.
I believe that you've been kind of helping yourselves in effect to combat this problem? What have you been doing?
We've been around all the neighbourhoods with loads of signatures, haven't we? How much did we get, John?
We've 136, and we've only done approximately 15-20% of the neighbourhood.
We haven't done that.
We haven't even started.
Is that signatures or households?
Households.
To give you just an idea how high the feelings are going, we have a chap up the road who shall be nameless, John.
Yeah.
He has threatened an old chap. Said, I've retired years ago. He said, I can't go out in my garden. I'll go down and I'll bleep the place down. Right. That's how worked up people are.
That's an old guy who's
an
70
old
odd.
Yeah.
You know, frail old fella, he's worked, he's paid for his bungalow, he wants some peace.
Yeah.
And he can't get anywhere with it, and he's at his wit's end. He has no quality of life. And if that's what you've got to look forward to in Tameside when you work all your life, for the whole establishment to just shut the door on you and say, sod you, go and live in Bedlam, it's not correct.
I believe there is a solution to this, isn't there? That they could, or should in fact, be putting that machine into
an acoustic housing.
And that would...
As is the law.
As is the law, which would eradicate the problem, would it not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, okay. So, ideally now, you've got your petition. What would you hope to happen? What's the very least you could hope to happen, you think?
Peace and quiet.